Hey everyone, hope y'all doing good. Hope y'all got your coffee. I know I got mine. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what I'm drinking tonight, other than black coffee. Oh man, we got quite a few people in here. Tara, welcome. Jade, good to see you. Barnoldus, Drago from Texas, good to see you. Cal, ooh, yeah, it's late in the UK, no doubt there. I'm honored that you still take the time to join us, though. That's pretty cool. Appreciate it. Is that Annie? Same thing. I appreciate you staying up to 1 a.m. to join us. That's pretty awesome. It's great to hear. Oh, Hiram, welcome. Black Flame, good to see you. Emily, Wildfire, Yeris. I know I screwed that up again. I apologize. One-chan, Wasabi. Black Flame caught you live. Glad I changed my mind about sleeping. I'm definitely far more entertaining when you're awake. Otherwise, I might be more of a nightmare. Oh, Wizard Warrior, hey, glad you can make it. Olivia, hey. And James, hello. All right, everyone. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I have had a busy one here. My day off didn't exactly turn into a full day off. I ended up having to get a few things done. But overall, by and large, I'll say I had a good day off. Did have that. But I actually have to say that I don't know if I should give a name out on this, so I probably won't, but there was an old YouTuber back in the day, more than 10 years ago. Actually, it was pretty early when I first found what YouTube was. He had a metaphysical channel, and he's actually one of the first YouTubers I encountered that really talked about magic from a scientific point of view. Granted, it was more of the psychological point of view that he presented his material from. I've mentioned his channel a time or two on this channel. And I also mentioned that when his channel closed and went down and got deleted, I didn't know necessarily what happened to him. And, I've made many comments. I wish him the best because he had a great influence on myself, my practice, and many, many others I know, actually. I'll be a son of a gun if he didn't sneak into my messages this week and comment on one of my videos. So he is doing well, and that is great to hear. And I am absolutely tickled to death to hear he's doing well. And I hope we get to see some new work from him soon. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. But it still tickled me to death to think a YouTuber I used to watch drops a comment in my things. That just, I don't know. It's stupid. It's goofy. I know, but that just tickled me to death today. And I wanted to share that. James, I'm doing pretty good. I honestly am. I am doing pretty good. I got a lot of work done this weekend that needed done around the house. Got some relaxation in. Actually had some time to do some reading and catch up on a bit of research. So I'm doing pretty good. Cal, yeah. Hello from UK. Cynthia, hello. Tell him you about a dream catcher. Awesome, man. Let's see what we got here. It's going to be a busy night. I feel many folks. Yeah, it does seem like it's going to be a busy night. Which, remember, hit the thumbs up and give us a like so YouTube knows you like the work we're doing. It helps with the algorithm and all that computer tech stuff that I'm not real good at. Y'all know that. But it does help out the channel a lot more than people think it does. And I have to admit, I've noticed that me reminding y'all, it does help. So that's pretty awesome. So, Let's see. Tried explaining the multiverse to my dad yesterday. He did not understand a word, but he at least accepts my practice. Oni Chan, that is awesome. And you know what? I know exactly where you're coming from. I really do. I tried to explain the multiverse concept to my mom, and I actually thought that'd be easier to explain than string theory because me and hers had that discussion before when I was in school. And my stepdad, I've never seen him laugh so hard as my mom trying to understand string theory. But she couldn't grasp the multiverse either. He tried to help too. He tried to help. He understood what I was saying. I don't really even think my stepdad actually has spiritual beliefs of any kind, but he was trying to help me there. And it really came down to my mom looked at me and she said, "So there's this realm, and then there's a spiritual realm like heaven and stuff like that." And I was like, you know what? Let's go with that for right now. But no, that's good. I'm glad your dad's accepting your practice there on the chan. That's really great to hear. Mugs up to you on that. It can be a hard one to explain to people, especially our parents sometimes. Let's see, Cass. I went through my Word after last week. The next day, I deleted all but essential apps from my phone. Oh, there you go. So you're actually clearing up your schedule. You're actually trying to figure out where your time's going. That's pretty awesome to hear, Cal. That is pretty awesome to hear. And that's a huge step. That is one of the hardest things. I have seen people like, I'm going to delete all the apps I don't use. They will sit there for an hour staring at an app they haven't used in 2 years, questioning whether they should delete it. So that's a big step. Let's see, Tara, always thumb up the video moment I get in, so my job is done. Appreciate it, Tara. Appreciate it a lot. Yeah, well, my mom used to be closed-minded, but I did the talking anyway. I'm just stubborn like that. I'm not recommending do that. You have to enjoy the argument to do that, which I did. Well, that's good. I like that. That was kind of my dad's opinion was you do you. If you're happy, your family's well, you good to go. Anna warmed up to negative 27. From 33 last night. The snow and stars are magical in the winter. Oh, dear God, Anna, you are not kidding. There is something about a winter sky. It's just clear. The stars are absolutely gorgeous. That's one of the reasons I love camping in the winter. You are dead on there. My mom, it's funny because she asks what I do. She asks why people pay me. I tell her, and we have a conversation. Usually lasts 5 minutes before she gets a little weirded out, and ghosts scare her. She can't even. I don't know if this is true. Okay, I don't know if this is true, but when she was explaining how badly ghosts scare her, she says she can't watch Scooby Doo. That was the example she gave. So I don't know if that's true or not. I think she was exaggerating, but it got the point across. See. Oh crap, we're jumping again. Sorry about that. Do remember if you have a really important question, we do have the super chats that you can do to make sure it flashes up because it's already jumping. We busy tonight. Everyone's got ready for the coffee hour tonight. Cynthia, do you have tips for when your partner isn't accepting of your practice? Thank you for your videos. They're very educational. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the channel, Cynthia, and I'm glad you enjoy the videos, and I am glad they're being helpful. As to a partner, This is a little tricky one, and I want to be very, very clear that you got to make the decision yourself, okay? Because we're talking about your life, your partner, those things. Now, me personally, this is what I have suggested to everyone I know, because I come from a family where, let's say, happy relationships wasn't something I really thought existed, which is why I was tickled to death when my mom actually did meet my stepdad. Um, because that was great to see that work. So here's my opinion on any relationship and any partner. I don't care the dynamic. Because as far as I'm concerned, love is love. You love that person, that's your business, not mine. So all dynamics are valid in my mind. But you can't change a person. You have to love them for who they are. And that's the question is, can you love and commit to that person in whatever dynamic your relationship is for life without them changing? That's the question. Um, because I can tell you right now, neither me nor my wife would be easy people to live with for most people, but for her and I, it works. Um, Now, when you say they're not accepting to your practice, does it they just don't want anything to do with it? You do you, they do them. Doesn't matter, or are they actually trying to stop you? If those are questions you need to ask yourself, Cynthia. Um, that said, if I um, was in a relationship where my practice was an issue. The only question on my mind would be which is more important, the relationship or the practice? Because if it's literally them basically saying either the practice goes or I go, I need to answer that question. Um, what's the right answer? That differs from person to person. I know for me, it would be the relationship. If you're not okay with me being me later, that's just always been my 2 cents on a relationship, which is actually why I never thought I'd meet anyone or get married. Um, but that's my 2 cents on it. Otherwise, beyond that, you got to sit down and talk with them. You got to find that middle ground. You can't always expect to have a partner that takes part in your practice. Be honest with you, my wife is a practitioner, but she doesn't take part in my practice. Our practices do not overlap. We don't work together. We do our own things. So, you know, that's a tricky one when you get into those relationships. Hey, Peachy, glad you could make it. Let's see. Spiritualists. I really feel like your videos and comments in the Discord helps not only me, but a lot of people. So I think I'm speaking for a lot of people when I say thank you for everything. Oh, that is so sweet. Well, thank you. It's good to know there's little nuggets of wisdom y'all can take away from my rantings. I'm glad to be able to help y'all. I really am. Animal Man, welcome. Whoa, we're jumping again. Crap. Let's see, Cass. I was wondering, obviously, you can't say their name, but what about their looks? I would like a friend to sketch them out for me, but is it okay to describe looks, gender, and things like that? Um, yeah, you can sketch out dragons. That's perfectly fine. In fact, if you go to workingdragonmystic.com in the merch area, we actually have artwork of the 9 rulers that was done up during evocation work. So yeah, you can sketch them. Good question, though, Cal. Let's see. Whew. Man, it jumped a lot, didn't it? Let's see, Wildfire. I watched your shadow work video, and I really want to start trying, but have a terrible memory, even if it just happened. Any more tips for starting a journal? Yeah, meditate on the feelings. Meditate on the feelings and things, and anything that scares you, brings you fear, makes you angry. Um, if you can't, if you don't have specific memories, focus on the emotions and ask yourself why that upsets you. Why does that anger you? Why does that trigger you? I guess maybe the modern word people use. A magician should understand why something upsets them, and they should seek to have an understanding of it that allows them to master it, so that instead of something happening and they react to what's happening out of emotion or just instinct, instead they're able to logically respond. The entire goal is to be able to respond, not react. There are two differences in there. When you're responding, you're aware of what you're doing, you're choosing your actions, and you're doing so logically with intent, not just randomly flying off the cuff. And that goes in all aspects: anger, sadness, depression, fear. Um, and fear is usually the big one. So, yeah, that I would focus on the emotions that are getting in your way. Whoa, okay. Whoa, we are busy tonight. Okay, we are jumping. Okay. I will try to get to as many of these as I can. Cynthia, I appreciate. No problem, Cynthia. It's the. I wish I had better advice for you on that. I know relationships are tricky; they really are. So I do. I wish you all the best. And let's see. Shalom Falcon, do you have anything that can be used to confirm whether or not you have entered Astral Sanctum? I'm a bit of a noob. Honestly, there's no real confirmations there outside just working with it. And it's like I tell people, if you can see your astral sanctum in your mind's eye, and if you can move around and interact with it, then you shouldn't be questioning whether you're there or not. It really is kind of that simple. And it'll also be tangible. It'll, when you show up, the things will be where you left them. So it's one of those things where you have to take notes and do things intentionally. There for a while, I was actually setting things in specific spots with the intent of them being there. And when I come back, they were there. So hope that helps a little bit. I'm at anything on dragons. I've been able to come across two names. Whoa, hold on. Two names and two distinct images of dragons. However, I'm not sure if these dragons are spirit guides, familiars, or dragon guardians. Hard to answer. I will say if you've not done the guardian dragon ritual, it's not a guardian dragon because you actually have to go through that process for it to officially be dubbed a guardian or a co-magician. Dragons don't do the familiar stick. They won't take a familiar spot. Some dragons will act as guides, though. Some will. And some of them will just show up and be in your life and help you out of rare curiosity and move on later. Let's see here. Oh, man. I did not sleep much last night, so reading the chat's a little tricky tonight. Hope y'all bear with me. Question about a curse I am putting on Salter, who targeted me 2 years ago. The dragons have agreed and told me that they believe a curse for them would be the best. What tools should I use? I'm going to go ahead, Olivia, and remove this just so YouTube don't get us, but I read that just so you know. Really depends on the way you're setting up the curse. It really does. Curses are not, one size fits all, and you really do have to adjust them and figure it out. Some of the easiest curses can actually be done pretty powerfully in candle magic. But I mean, if you're actually looking for a curse to cause this person harm, whether it be mental or physical, an easy road to go would be to get you some modeling clay, shape out a human form, take a piece of paper, work it into the clay with their name on it. If you're wanting mental distress, attack the head. Physical, attack the body. You get the idea. And you need to pour all your anger, pain, everything emotional, you need to pour into that when you're doing it. You want to go ape on that little clay model that you're envisioning as them, and have a black candle burning while you do it. And then once you have gone absolutely ham and exhausted every bit of emotional distress that you have attached to this subject, issue, and happenstance, I mean, pour it all out. You should be ready to pass out and sleep when you're done. Let the candle burn. Leave the representation of them right there on your work area. Let the candle burn out. Walk away. You're done with it. You're done with them. You're done with it. See, is it okay to choose a wand you own as your chosen tool instead of make? Oh yeah, totally. I know people who picked up wands they were given years ago and dedicated that to their dragon practice. Um, so yeah, you can totally use a wand you already got. I actually know a few people who used wands that they got at the Harry Potter world. Um, so I mean, you can easily get a wand wherever you want. That's up to you. Let's see, okay. We jumped again. Crap. Da, 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 da. Let's see. Olivia, not necessarily working Dragon Mystic has the twins. Then he has the red one, but not that he mentioned in other live streams. Okay, that's obviously, I think that's answering someone else's question. If any dragon is trying to give you more than one guardian, you should tell them to stop. It's punishable by death. You care for them to tell them no. Yeah, the number of guardians gets a little tricky. Archangel Michael has a lot of different sigils, and I do not have one of them nearby. I apologize for that. And I forgot to mute something, and Lady Peachy decided she was going to ping me. So that's okay. So we'll go ahead and mute that so she don't ping me again. Everybody blame Peachy for the ping sound. But you should be able to find one. I mean, they're all over. Most of your angelic sigils are built off the rosary circle, which kind of looks like a series of lines with little circles and on one a circle on one end and a triangle at the other. And it's built off the name of the angel. But they're pretty easy to find. Can't believe I'm going to say this, but you actually could Google it, or you could even make a sigil just out of the name itself. You could take Archangel Michael and create it the same way you would do a sigil. Is it possible to do things in your astral sanctum and the mortal plane at the same time? If you're talking about literally at the same time, like you're doing things there and here, and they're two separate things, that would be what's referred to as bilocation. It is possible. It's tricky, but possible. Let's see. Okay. Whoa, crap. We're jumping again. I have a super nice purple heart. Ooh, that does sound nice, man. That sounds real nice. Purple heartwood is gorgeous. Yeah, the twins do act as one and the same. Let's see. Uh, Henshaw, it's likely one of them's your guardian because it sounds like you got one of them during your guardian meditation. That would be your guardian. The other one that you just picked up from a meditation in your the sanctum, I think it was you said. That one would likely not be a guardian, would just be a dragon that hangs around. Because once you start getting into dragon magic, dragons will drift around. That's not too uncommon. In fact, many of them actually hang around your guardians. As I mentioned in the Guardian Dragon video, guardians actually act to help babysit smaller dragons. Those dragons aren't there for you. It's the guardians are stuck babysitting them for the time being. Um, but it is not uncommon for other dragons to show up in meditations for different reasons. That doesn't make them a guardian dragon. That just makes them a dragon that's interested in you or your practice to help you in some way. Not a bad thing. I got different dragons wandering in and out of here all the time. I need to work on my wand. It's from an evergreen. Ooh, that sounds nice. That sounds nice. Actually, one of my friends got them recently a piece of this really deep ebony. Um, and I don't know how she got a hold of it. She said a friend gave it to her, she claims, but she's actually planning to make a wand out of that. And she's really handy with crafting and woodworking, so I'm actually really excited to see what she does with it. Let's see, here I have 2 dragons, for example. Guardian, Kotaro Kujo. Sorry if I messed that up. Jotaro. We'll go. Well, I would say Kujo. I think I'm saying that part correct. Do you have any tips on connecting with Lucifer? He's been my deity for a month or so now, but right now I feel a little distant from him. With Lucifer, honestly, some of the best things I've found to connect with him is really just sit down, light a candle for him because he is Lucifer, light bringer, that kind of stuff. And candles are a simple representation of creation and bringing of light. So you can easily light that. If you have a sigil, by all means, utilize that as well. You can actually check out many of our videos on contacting entities, even sigil magic, on how to charge and empower a sigil and open it. And meditate specifically. And Lucifer's really big on free will and taking charge of your life. So one of the easiest ways to really connect with Lucifer is to meditate in those areas especially. Ask him where it is that you can start taking charge of your life. Ask him where you can stop making excuses. When you get to that one, be ready because he will have a list, believe me. And you may not find it a nice list when he starts telling you. But going over these things about how you can master your own life, how you can take charge of your will and live the life you want to live within the constraints of society. He actually understands that there's that balancing game there, and the things that you can do in order to master yourself while removing the excuses. He's not a big guy on excuses, so that's actually some of the best exercises I know to connect with him. Let's see. So wildfire, if it's another thing that requires practice, feel free to ignore. But having trouble with auto-filling what the dragons are trying to tell me. I met Terrafana yesterday. Grats. and still had a lot of trouble and had to resort to visual responses instead. Yes, it does take time and practice. It really does. It's one of those things, the more you learn to let go and just let the information flow, the better it gets. And it takes practice. You got to trust the information that flows, and you got to trust to let it flow. And letting that information flow that easy, it's not something most people's used to. And it can be a really hard thing to do. That is one of the areas I had the most trouble with when I first started out, is letting go and actually just trusting the information that came in. That's actually one reason I started keeping journals so early on, is it was really the only way I knew how to let go. Because if I just let the information flow in and I kept the notes, I could easily go back and examine it. That's what really, really helped me out. But it does take time and practice. Let's see. Sometimes I'm meditating in astral sanctum, body will sometimes randomly attack a dragon or something. Do you know how I could stop this? Because it's really uncomfortable to go through. Olivia's got it. Yeah, there's something in you that is actually lashing out at the dragons. It is literally trying to combat your progression. I think Olivia's spot on. Some shadow work would really, really help you out, which we do have a video on beginner shadow work. I've had a few people ask me to do videos on more advanced shadow work and or a class. We're looking into it, because shadow work is vitally important to all practitioners. We all should do it. I actually do 2 massive workings twice a year. So every year, just to make sure, keep my stuff in check. But yeah, that actually sounds like you've got something that is willingly wanting to hold you back. And that usually ties straight into shadow work. Anytime I see that, the first thing I tell them is to go straight to shadow work. So I think Olivia's spot on with this one. We got a lot of smart cookies around here. We really do. I'm blessed with a smart community. So if you're already doing shadow work, you need to go deeper. That is one thing. I actually spoke with a high priestess, was talking about her shadow work and where she was having trouble. And that was actually a fascinating conversation for me. I'm not going to brag on this or nothing, because I actually felt, I felt bad for the girl. And I asked her, whoa, crap, my hat went crooked as could be there. I asked her what she was doing, and she told me. And I asked her if she would be more interested in a deeper shadow work, because it sounds like there is something there that's not being dug up. It's buried deeper than what she's going with her current process. And we discussed it, and I told her I couldn't tell her how hard or rough the ride would be, because it's different for everyone. But I told her to think it over. She did. She thought it over for 2 or 3 months, actually. I'd forgot about it when she called me. But she decided to try a different method and go deeper. And when she went deeper, we uncovered some stuff. It's one of those where we all have things that I think we could dig a little deeper on. And that includes me. As often as I do shadow work, I guarantee I ain't dug it all up. I guarantee. Which kind of terrifies me, and what's buried down there deeper. But hey, that's part of the process. But the good news is, I think it took about another 3 months of working with her daily. And she was rough those 3 months. I'm not going to lie. I was really grateful I was able to be there and support her and help her through this. And her husband. Her husband was great. Oh, my God. That man needs a freaking gold star and a medal, because he was great support to her during that. But at the end of that 3 months, everything that she was having issues with did clear up. So just because you're doing shadow work doesn't mean you're doing enough of it. Again, that's the thing. Just because we're in a magical practice doesn't mean, the first time you do something or even what you're currently doing is enough. You always have to step back and ask, can you turn the volume up? Can you adjust? Can you tweak? Um, and you have to consider that. You always have to be willing to be wrong. I tell my students that all the time. The best thing you can do for your practice is be willing to be wrong. Because if you're willing to be wrong, when you step back and look at your results and your data, you're willing to make adjustments more because your ego and your pride is already checked out because you're already willing to be wrong. And shadow work is a huge one. Oh my God, you have to be willing. Tara, I wanted to start some shadow work, but I didn't have a spare notebook. And you're stuck in quarantine. I heard that. I heard that. That's one reason I'm lucky I have Amazon. They practically bring me all my magical supplies these days. But if you can't have a spare notebook or something, some old tricks of the trade. Grab a magazine and a Sharpie because you can actually write on a magazine. It doesn't necessarily have to be readable. So you can get an old magazine that you're willing to throw away and write down in there. And you're going to be destroying the notebook anyhow. Olivia, you've said it. It can get very ugly. It does. I remind my wife. After all these years, I remind her every time I get ready to start a shadow working process, just so she knows and gets a heads up. Let's see, wildfire, probably last question, not sure. No problems there. But spell work I've been taught. Just saying words while focusing is enough, but it never feels right. I tried. Oh man, wildfire, you just opened a box. Pandora's box, nonetheless. Okay. In a sense, that statement is true, but incomplete. Because first off, what you say, words have power. No way around that. And you do have to focus to make a spell work. Both of those statements are true, but it's incomplete because what you focus on is important, what you say is important, and the amount of energy you put into it's important. I can make a statement. If you constantly say negative things about you, even if you're joking, you're not putting a lot of power behind it, but it's the repetitiveness that really amps it up. So if you're doing a one-time spell, simple repetitive words mean nothing. That's why I tell people when you do a spell, I want you to push your energy into it. I want you to put all your emotional energy into it. I want you to feel it. And I want you to focus not on it manifesting. I don't want you to focus on the process of it getting there. I want you to focus on you having it. So if you are manifesting a job, don't try to picture the exact job unless you're actually shooting for an exact job. But remember, the more you narrow it down, the harder it gets. But just see yourself at work. Don't ask yourself what you're doing. Just see yourself at work, working. You've got the job. If you're trying to manifest money, don't try to picture it in any certain way. It's coming from this source or that source. Just see yourself holding the money. You already got it in hand. It's there. Who cares where it came from? It's in your hand. Those are the things it's those little details that some of these people who make these broad statements really do more harm than good with. And it kind of annoys me. So the statement's true, wildfire, but incomplete, if that makes sense. So yeah, you can easily do it with words alone and focus, but you have to push that energy and into what you're focused on, and you have to make sure you're focusing on the right thing And speaking it actually sends a physical vibration into the physical realm, which is actually a very handy thing. You can actually do a spell without words entirely, but the words creating that vibration does help. In fact, that's the entire concept behind Norse Golden magic, or even intoning in rituals that you see in the Golden Dawn or other rituals where intoning's used. A lot of ceremonial magic picks up on intoning for those very reasons. Whew, okay, I think I got that one. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, Daniel, it's hard to. I can't see your little icon there. Okay. I'm new to all this every way. I don't know how to do magic yet, but I plan on learning. But anyways, I'm training my arcane senses. Keep having a feeling that something is watching, something scary. Sometimes I can see it. Well, Daniel, let me let you in on a secret. I don't care where you are on the physical plane. You are always surrounded by lots of somethings. You're never alone. That's a simple truth. If you were to open fully with no filter at all your arcane sight, you would see a spiritual realm around you 24/7 that looks like pre-pandemic Times Square at New Year's Eve. Everyone crammed in tight, shoulder to shoulder, waiting for New Year's to happen. The world is not as empty as we like to think it is. And that's a scary thing. That is a scary thing. When you start working with your arcane senses and you start opening them up and you start realizing those things are there, it's scary. We have this sort of egotistical ideal of physical space. Like right now, I mean, most people would say you spend all your time alone because I'm the only physical person in this house. I haven't been alone one day this year. I haven't. Actually, I wasn't alone one day last year. So it's one of those things where, and it is scary. Even the best of things are terrifying. People's like, it's scary, so it has to be bad. No. Read your angelic lore. Angels never, historically, when angels appear, the people are terrified of them. Because to see an angel in its true appearance, because angels do not look like people with little feathery wings, they are a terrifying sight to see. And they have to say, be calm. You know, they have to remind you that. So it's an adjustment. It really is, Daniel. Now that's not to say all entities out there are totally kosher and just, you know, wonderful people. There's entities out there that are jackasses. They really are. But I hope that helps you out a little bit. Just keep up the work. You'll get there. You will get there. And oh Lord, we are way down here again. Let's see. Cognitive XP, first time at the live stream. Might be off topic. Before I seen an apparition swoop from the sky that resembled what best described as a hooded figure with a reaper and could make it out late at night. What does this mean? Cognitive, I'll be honest with you, there's so many, and I do mean so many entities that could fit that description. It could mean anything. That's not really enough to go on. Though seeing stuff like that does make camping fun. I mean, me and a bunch of friends that I go camping with, especially when we're going out to do different shamanic rituals, we actually make a point to monitor the night sky for interesting things like that. But hooded figures are a pretty common generalization that most entities actually like to take. Let's see. I apologize. Dream magic is, or I'm sorry, I just read something about somebody meant dream magic. I apologize for missing the comments here. The chat is moving quick today, which is great. It's so nice to see so many people in here this weekend. Let's see. Yeah, Olivia, be not afraid while looking like a will of death. Yep, you know the exact artistic renderings. There we go. I'll get it in a minute. I need more coffee. That's what the problem is. You know the exact artistic renderings I'm talking about. Oh yeah, you'll see them near burial sites, native and non-native all the time. Kind of. They generally just hang about. Oh no, Tara, I don't mind their natural forms. I don't mind them at all. I actually find them quite fascinating, me personally. That being said, though, if I was a superstitious man and I didn't know what I knew and I hadn't seen some of the weirder things I've seen, if I was to just turn around and see that, well, heck, even when I was younger, I'd have probably needed my brown pants. But that was then, this is now. And you are looking at those writings were very, very, very old. So, different times, different place. Long shot, reoccurring dreams, both good and bad. Dream work is a tricky one, Tara. It really is. As far as actually like lucid dreaming, I'm usually not a major fan of that because I think the input for output of manifestation is just not worth it. I think efficiency wise, your efforts better spent elsewhere. However, in reoccurring dreams, because they're already happening, right? I do think it is. I think keeping a dream journal, recording them, and trying to pick out the key factors and then meditating on those is actually very helpful. I think you can actually glean a lot of insight from them, and you can potentially take that insight into areas to pursue further in the case of good dreams, or in the case of bad dreams, it can even help you to focus in on certain areas for shadow work. In which case you really do get to dive in deeper and, dig under some of that bedrock that maybe you haven't turned over yet. So in those cases, I do find reoccurring dreams to be actually helpful. So not as long as shot as you thought. See what I mean? Yeah. The coffee, yeah, that my wife has the same problem. Wizard Warrior coffee at her work's not that good either, so she tends to take her own. In fact, when she's on deployment, she has me ship coffee to her all the time. That might be one of the reasons they love her in her shop, because they constantly have a supply of really good coffee. Although we sent her some, what was that? Is Death Wish one time, and she's got someone in there. They'll drink normal coffee, but they usually drink decaf. And no one told this poor little person that they made Death Wish that morning. And they drank their normal 3 cups of coffee, slammed them down, and went out to work. And they couldn't figure out why they couldn't sit still and why they were shaking so bad they could have threaded a sewing machine while it was running. But they had a good time. They enjoyed the feeling. And everyone watching this person bounce around like that enjoyed it too. So, hey, mugs up to that, right? Repeat. I've had 2 food offerings to my dragon guardian disappear. By the morning, I had left them on the altar. By morning, not even a crumb was left on the plate. Is this heard of? Actually, yeah, Cal, that's actually quite heard of. Whether inside or outside. Outside is very common, honestly. Inside, it's a little less common, but it is very well heard of. So yeah, I mean it's heard of. I know I've heard people, say roaches or mice have dragged it off, but depending on what it is, that's not very likely. Because first off, you'd have to have like a New York roach problem for some food to be dragged off. And mice, kind of the same thing. Mice don't tend to drag large offerings off, which most of my offerings are relatively large. So, and less whole cupcakes are just, I mean, with whole, it's very heard of. The dragons will take things in full. Not always. They generally prefer to stick with the energy, but it's heard of. The recurring dream is whack though. It's about chasing cat. Look up cats. Check out a book called Animal Speak. I love that book when it comes to researching animals and their representations. But look up cats. Look up cats and their meaning, and view it as, instead of chasing the animal, you're chasing the meaning. And see how that fits together, Tara. Give that one a shot. I'm not saying that's the answer, but give that a shot and meditate on that. See if that helps you out any. Hey, keep me posted too on that one, if you will. Emery, I have a depressing question. Yes, dragons can die. They do have a age limit, so they do die of old age. In fact, there's a very specific, I guess you'd call it pocket plane, that they essentially have their own kind of massive draconic world cemetery in. It's a pretty somber place. It's also absolutely gorgeous if you ever get to visit it. But they can die. They can also die in battle. Animal Man, that is another Pandora box question. When we reincarnate, when does the soul enter the body? And magicians and spiritualists and shamans and you name them. Wise men, stupid men, fools, and weirdos. We've all argued this one. And there's a lot of really good theories on this one. And I personally, at this time, Animal Man, do not take a direct stance. Though, that said, I think one of the ones that I find the most interesting for me is the fact that if you look at it through a scientific lens and how much of the body is on just base motor function, pretty much like a coma patient vegetable, then the body reacts the same way exactly in all ways through the developmental stages until, and this is where the largest change happens, and that's essentially when the water breaks. And you notice a massive response to both the baby in the womb and the mother at that exact same time. And a lot of magicians have also noticed a massive, massive energetic surge at that exact moment. Now, the problem is that moment is so brief, it's hard to decipher jack squat. But the theory is that it's actually the soul dropping into the vessel at that moment that triggers that event. That's the theory. Again, theory. Let's emphasize that word, people. We say it again. Theory. That isn't a definite. For me, that is the one that I find the most interesting, and perhaps one of the most plausible. But at this time, no one knows absolutely for sure. I hope that helps a little bit. Let's see, CJ, thread a sewing machine while it's running. Never heard that one. Hang around us Southerners, you'll hear some stuff. Do dragons like hot peppers? Oh yeah, yeah they do. They love spicy foods in general. Um, yeah, mice tend not to go for spicy foods. Cal, you got a point there. You got a real good point there. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know if I can keep up to date. Didn't get the exchange discords. Tara, I actually tried to send you a thing, and it said that your account is set up so that it wouldn't allow me to friend you. It said you would have to friend me. Just so you know that. I thought I emailed you back on that. If I didn't, I apologize. But apparently, your security settings won't let me friend you. Oh, they are, Olivia. They absolutely are. I've actually gotten to attend a clan leader's funeral once. Um, it was a clan leader I had spoken with a time or two. I didn't know him super well, but it was an amazing funeral, an absolutely amazing funeral. Absolutely beautiful. The music, the reverence. Um, but what I loved most about it was not just the music, because the music suited the mood of the stories, the lore. They would share important events of this dragon's life and memories and talk about them. Which I think this is honestly how a funeral should be done. You shouldn't be crying and weeping and boo. No, no. See, that's all for us. That has nothing to do with the person. Um, no, they actually celebrated the life of the dragon, which is something you actually do see, especially in Louisiana and other cultures like that. They celebrate the life. Even in Norse culture, they celebrate the life of the person. Um, so to see the dragons do it, but I mean, they done it on a level that was just freaking amazing. Um, because while they're telling the story, they're not just telling it, but the music, the vibrations created by all the dragons in the room are matching the story, matching the mood, and literally projecting it like you're there during the story. You're experiencing it right along with the dragon that passed. Which, man, I can't even begin to really put it into words. Let's see. Okay, we jumped again. I'm going to try and catch up on these last few before we get going for the weekend. Let's see. Let's see. Count. Say they live much longer than us. It would be incredibly rare for your guardian to die during you. Yeah, a guardian's not going to die during your lifetime. Not of natural causes. Um, guardians are only like I think it's. I want to say if I'm. Oh man, it's at 500 years old. A dragon can get the job as a guardian, and they can remain in that. They remain guardians for different humans, not the same human, different humans, until they reach 1,000 years old, at which point they can actually move into and begin specializing in a specific element. Um, Dragons live so much longer than that. I've seen dragons that are 50,000 years old and even up. Um, I remember asking the Chaos Ruler his age, and he actually said a number. I can't even remember what the frick he said. And clearly he saw the look of what the crap did you just say on my face. Um, because he literally is like, let's just say it was before the existence of anything man knows. And I was like, I can go with that. So yeah, depends on the dragon, depends on the element, but yeah, they live a long time. Oh, Olivia, it's possible to put all your energy into the spell. That is actually very possible. I know a lot of magicians who do just that for every spell. They won't consider a spell complete until they pass out. And I do mean literally pass out. So it is actually possible to put all your energy into one. Not the best of ideals most of the time. Which is one reason I did a video on, how to do magic without exhausting yourself all the time. But emotional energy does not, let's see how I can explain this. Emotional energy will exhaust you. It will leave you tired, but it won't leave you empty because emotions actually generate energy. That's one reason I want to put the focus on the emotional energy when you are doing spells, is because since they generate energy, especially if you're dealing with something that bothers you, stresses you, or something like that, if you're literally funneling all that emotion into your working because you're trying to get rid of whatever your problem is, right? Or whatever your worry is, then if you truly exhaust all that emotional energy into that spell and let go, you're free of it. But at the same time, if you watch that video on how to do spell work without being exhausted, not only are you drawing out that emotional energy and pushing that into the spell work so that you get that entirely out of you, no longer your problem, but you're also pulling energy from other sources from around you. You're not using your own vital life essence energy. And that way you're staying in a nice little balance. So true, that emotional energy moving through you will exhaust you, usually more mentally and emotionally, but not physically. And that's really the way to go. And actually, that's how I manage to do most of my magic. I don't use my vital essence. I actually utilize by pulling outward energies through me. Depending on the work, there are some workings and some rituals and path workings where you do have to draw specifically on your essence, otherwise it just won't work. In which case, you gotta do what you gotta do. But it is, different strokes for different folks. It's like I always say, if your spell work is giving you the results and manifestation that you're looking for and you're happy with it, I ain't gonna tell you you're doing it wrong because it's working. So, all right, let's see. Is that? Oh, goodness. Remember that I have some important numbers somewhere. Do what they mean. Cal, if you can get those, let me know. Right off the top of my head, Cal, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. Numerology is not one of my stronger suits. I usually have to pull a lot of my old notes from that. Let's see. So I'm afraid that is one I am not going to be very helpful on, Cal. I do apologize. Everything gives off radiation, Wizard Warrior. Quite literally everything. Uh, it has been a long time since I've studied radio. I wish Halloween was here. She'd probably know this better than I would. We do give off radiation. Is it the exact same style of radiation? That I can't remember. But your question too, is it possibly to maintain or control your internal temperature? You do see a lot of Buddhist monks do this through massive discipline and meditation. And there are certain magics that allow you to create microclimates around you, but that's not internal. That's a microclimate around you. And you're having to maintain that against whatever's pressing in on you also. So it's not something I would wish to trust in an extreme environment. Um, but there is spell works and meditations that has shown some success with this. It's not something I would bank on for that. Thank you, CJ. Hey, Jay, good to see you. All right, everyone, we are past our hour, and I have a meeting to get to and more coffee to drink. Got to have my coffee. I do appreciate you all dropping in and spending the Sunday night with me and closing out the weekend here with me. It's always great to see you, talk to y'all, and try to answer questions. I apologize. I missed so many things. The chat was moving so fast tonight, but that is amazing to see because it is great to have a community of so many people interested in this to talk with, to share ideals with, and to um, get points of view. I mean, like me and Olivia, there's a point of view there we discussed. Um, and that's what it's about, people. It really is. That is what it's about. Remember, just because you don't agree with it, don't mean it ain't right. Don't mean it ain't going to work for them. In fact, try to keep the focus on the question is the what the person doing working for them? Is it working for their path? Yes or no? If it is, let them be. Let them be. Try not to judge. Try not to be a jerk. Even an old timer like me who's in the practice, and my entire focus is really on if it's working for you, keep doing it. When I'm asked a question, I answer with what I know is reproducible, and I answer it in such a way people take it as me saying this is how you do it. It's the only way to do it. It's the right way to do it. But it's not that. It's just I have a confidence in the reproducibility of the stuff I've tried and I know. And that confidence sometimes comes off wrong. And I apologize if I ever come off that way. But always do remember there's more than one way to skin a cat, and there's more than one way to walk a path. The question for the practitioner and the magician is very simple. Are you getting the results you want? Are you happy with your path? And are you living the best life you can live? And are you happy with it? If the answer to those are yes, you keep on doing what you're doing and you keep being the best you can be. If the answer to any of those is maybe or no, step back. Look at it. Look at your data. Make a few adjustments. Try it again. That's the beauty of the sun. She keeps coming up and we keep getting another shot. So keep rolling the dice every chance you get, people. And I will see you next Friday. You all have a fantastic week. Keep doing the great work you're doing. I hope to hear some great results and successes again Friday because this week we had so many people make so many breakthroughs and progress. I tell you, it just tickles me to death. I do appreciate it. And until next Friday, everyone, I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.